I liked the Radisson because it had a large, airy lobby. It was like staying in hotels you see in old movies. I stood on the sidelines with my sons, Bradley and Terry. We were waiting for my wife, Lauren, to come over for a date on Wednesday afternoon. My sons and I had been planning this day for weeks, and we were all excited to see how it would go. Lauren and I were planning to celebrate our silver wedding anniversary next week. We got married early and had boys early. They both attended Temple University on scholarships. Although we lived in Reading, we didn't usually make it to downtown Philadelphia. I have never been to or stayed at a Radisson before. I work in the legal department of an accountancy firm in Reading. For the past 10 years, I have had a regular weekly meeting with a large retirement care contractor in Harrisburg. It was one of those meetings that was never cancelled or rescheduled. That's probably why Lauren chose Wednesday for her weekly trip to the Radisson. It was a 2-hour drive from Reading to downtown Philadelphia in terrible traffic, so this must have been important to her. I started to suspect that something was going on about 2 months ago. It was just little things that caught my attention. The company had an investigator on retainer, and he was more than willing to take on a little surveillance work in between his regular jobs. It was expensive, but I didn't care. It didn't take him long to learn that Lauren was traveling to Philadelphia on Wednesday morning and meeting family friend Kyle Standish here at the Radisson Hotel. Lauren always went into the gift shop and waited for Kyle. When he arrived, he rented a room and walked through the lobby to the payphone. He would place a small envelope under the payphone and enter the elevator, always to the 8th floor. Lauren came out of the gift shop, took the envelope containing the room key, and followed him to his floor. They were there for about 3 hours and then left. Kyle used to work for our company. We interacted with Kyle and his wife Beth at several company events, and even got together before his transfer to the Montgomery County office. I haven't seen him for several years. A few months ago, Bradley and Terry were at a job fair at the Radisson Hotel when they spotted Kyle stepping out of a new red Corvette. They were about to catch up and say hello when Terry spotted Lauren in the gift shop. The boys stopped and just watched. They both wondered what their mother would be doing in a hotel gift shop 50 miles from home in the middle of the week. I guess it didn't take them long to figure it out. About 2 weeks ago, they both reluctantly approached me one evening while Lauren was visiting her sister. It was then that I learned about their trip to Radisson. "Dad, if you knew what was happening, why didn't you do anything?" "Terry, I only recently found out. I do not know what I want. I love your mother, and it's hard for me to think about life without her. I wish this never happened, or at least I never found out. Now that I know, I can't ignore it. Any suggestions? I know a guy who would kill Kyle for $500. That's a bit radical, Bradley." "Let's see if we can come up with something less radical. I plan to call Beth to see if she knows what's going on. I hope she has an idea or two. We have a light workload on Wednesday, so we can help if you decide anything." It was nice to see that my sons support me. I know they love their mother, and the situation must be as difficult for them as it is for me. 2 days later, I saw Beth Standish. She suspected something was wrong, but wasn't sure. Beth had caught Kyle doing the same thing to other wives before, and he promised he would be a good boy. Since she already had enough information about his infidelities, she was ready to file for divorce. She asked if I could refrain from doing anything while she prepared the paperwork. Setting a date was easy. Which brings us to today. Lauren entered the hotel lobby right on schedule and went into the gift shop. She was beautiful but a little nervous. It looked like she was putting extra effort into her weekly date, and it was a little painful. "Hey guys, are you waiting for me?" Beth Standish quietly walked up behind me. "Lauren just showed up and is waiting in the gift shop. If everything goes according to plan, Kyle will be here soon." Lauren was flipping through magazines in the gift shop, keeping her eyes on the lobby for her lover. Soon, Kyle walked past the gift shop and approached the counter. I saw Lauren smile when he appeared. A few minutes later, Kyle came out from behind the counter, stopped at a payphone, and entered the elevator. As soon as the elevator door closed, Terry entered the gift shop. He smiled and welcomed his mother with open arms. Lauren looked worried. With his arm around her waist, he was able to direct her gaze away from the lobby. Beth quickly took out the key card that Kyle had hidden and entered the elevator. Kyle was a creature of habit. He always showered before sex. Beth planned to wait in the hallway until she was sure he had gotten started. Bradley and I slowly walked up to Terry and Lauren. "Well, what a wonderful surprise. It's great to meet you here, Lauren. You can join me and the boys for lunch." "John, what are you doing here? I thought you were supposed to be in Harrisburg." "Today the meeting was canceled, and I decided to join the guys for lunch. I called home to invite you, but you weren't there. Now I understand why. What are you doing here?" It was obvious that Lauren was excited. "I'm meeting Marcia Phillips here for lunch. You remember her, John? We went to elementary school together." She didn't notice how the boys smiled at each other when she came up with this lame excuse. "It's not a problem, Lauren. We'll make a reservation for 5 and she can join us." Lauren reluctantly went with us to the restaurant. The way things were going, she had no choice. Before sitting down, she took out her cell phone. "I have to call Marcia and let her know that everything has changed." "Put away the phone, dear. The hall is not that big. I don't think it will be difficult for her to find us." I didn't want my wife to call Kyle while Beth was doing her own thing. Lauren seemed a little nervous as we sat there. The boys were acting a little obsequious, but she didn't notice. Lauren placed the phone on the table next to the silverware. She usually kept it in her purse, which stood on the floor near her chair. After the waiter took our drink orders, we all sat in silence looking at the menu. I frowned slightly when I saw them grinning at each other. "Do we wait for Marcia, Lauren, or let her order after she arrives? Come on, order right now." Marcia was a little doubtful that she would be able to make it in time for lunch. She may not appear at all. I thought that if she didn't come, I could still go shopping a little. Poor Lauren piled one lie on top of another, trying to save face. I felt sorry for her, but I knew she deserved it. The waiter brought our drinks and took our order. Lauren only ordered fruit salad. Not even 15 minutes had passed when Beth approached the table. In her hands, she carried all of Kyle's clothes and his shoes. "Hello, Beth. How did everything go?" "Very good. Thanks, John." My loving husband was in the shower, just as we expected, and didn't even notice I was there. I left the divorce papers on the dresser for him and decided at the last minute to pick up his clothes. Lauren looked scared to death. The blush disappeared from her face and her eyes began to cloud over. She looked at me, then at Beth, not knowing what to do. "Here's the key, Lauren. Thank you for lending it to me. I won't need it anymore." Beth carefully placed the key card next to Lauren's phone. Lauren stared at him with her mouth open. Her cell phone rang. She picked it up and looked at the number. Without answering the call, she turned off the phone and put it back. "Here you go, boys. The Corvette is yours until the end of the week. It's in my name, so don't worry about anything. When you get tired of playing, leave it at home." She handed Bradley the keys to the Corvette. "Thanks for the help, guys, but I have to run. Bon appetit." Lauren looked at me as if she was begging for help. I didn't offer anything. She didn't even look at the boys. When the waiter brought the food, she excused herself and went to the ladies' room. The boys and I had already eaten, but Lauren still hadn't returned to the table. I asked Terry to check the restrooms and sent Bradley to the room Kyle had rented. When Lauren left, she left her keycard, cell phone, and purse on the table. 10 minutes later, they both returned to no avail. Bradley said the hotel provided Kyle with a tracksuit while they tried to take him home. Terry checked the ladies' rooms in the restaurant and hotel lobby and found nothing. I asked the restaurant manager to arrange for us to get help from the hotel security. There was no indication that anything illegal or criminal had occurred. The security people tried to be as helpful as possible, but the only thing they could find was a security camera that showed Lauren going into the kitchen, not the powder room. The other cameras showed nothing. They called Philadelphia police as a precaution. Lauren could not be reported missing, but we could file an incident report for future reference if necessary. We waited a few more hours and then decided to go home in case she was there. She left her purse with credit cards, driver's license, and money on the table. Lauren was not at home. It's been 2 years since our lunch at Radici. Terry is now a lieutenant in the Air Force. Bradley is a graduate student in California. Beth and Kyle divorced. We never saw or heard from Lauren again. I filed a missing person report with the Philadelphia police after the required waiting period, but they found nothing. By law, I am still married. At some point, I will have to apply to change this status. In the meantime, I live in a big house, alone. All of Lauren's clothes and other belongings are still there just as she left them. I'm trying to figure out if lunch at Radis was a good idea or a bad idea. I can't decide. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.